All right, MKs, I'm glad you're back. Appreciate all of you last week that did your exercise and were thankful for some things and tagged me in them. I saw some of you had tagged Sister Celinda in them. Continue to do that. Keep that up this week. The things that you're thankful for, find something. Tag your leadership in it. We want to hear from you. We want to know that these video devotionals and all of the devotionals that we've done in the past are making an impact in your life. Now, on this second week of our Thanksgiving series, we're going to talk about something about Thanksgiving called push and pull. Push and pull. What am I talking about? There's a shocking statistic out there that says it only takes 30 seconds of dwelling on a negative thought for it to take root in your deeper conscience. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take out your phone or take out your watch, and I want you to stop for just a moment, pause this video, and I want you to actually see how long 30 seconds is. Welcome back. Are you as amazed as I am by how short 30 seconds can be? So what a shocking statistic that in just that short amount of time, if you think on something negative, it will take root in your mind and your conscience. And the Bible tells us, as a man thinketh, so is he. If that takes root in your mind, then you become negative. Your thinking, the way that you perceive life becomes negative. But if that's true about a negative thought, would it not also be true about a positive thought? If you could just take 30 seconds and think on something positive, it could revolutionize your life too. Your mind, your attitude, your spirit would be changed. Jesus understood this, and he gave the Apostle Paul this concept in Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8. So get out your Bibles, get out your phones, and let's look at it really quick. Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8 says this: "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of a good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things." Why, Paul? Why should we think on those things? Why did Jesus tell you to write that down? Why was that written to us? Because he understood, if I can get you to think right, and if I can get you to hold that thought process for just 30 seconds, that's also going to take root in your spirit. And you see, the difference between victory in your life and defeat in your life is all starts right here in how you think. If you think you're defeated, you're already defeated. If you give up, you're already given up. In the Bible, we see two characters. These are two of my favorite guys, Joshua and Caleb. Now, I got to get you to get the picture, because Joshua and Caleb did not go to a very positive church. In fact, they went to a big church. There was over 1 million people in their church. But most of the people in their church were negative. They thought negative. Their perception was negative. I know they'd come out of a bad past. They came out of slavery. I know they came out of a bad situation. But you see, God was in their life now to try to turn their thinking around. So here's Joshua and Caleb. They're standing at the Jordan River. They're looking over and they're looking at the city, and they're getting ready to go into it. And Moses says, I'm going to send you over there with all these other spies, and I want you to spy out the land and come back and give me a report. Well, you know the story, but let's just refresh it just for a minute. They come back, they're carrying this fruit. The fruit's so big that they had to carry it. It took two of them to carry it, and they come into the land, and they've got all these spoils and all of this fruit, and the people are excited by what they see, and they say, well, can we do it? And what's the report? And you know the story. 10 of them stood up, and beyond all they had seen, all they held on to was the negative. And so they begin to say, yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, there's a lot of fruit there. But guess what? The cities are walled. The people are big. We are not able to. We're like little grasshoppers in their sight. There's no way we can defeat them. Can you imagine the people? They're excited by what they see. They're excited by all of this fruit that they see. And then as these people begin to talk, they just begin to get, oh, maybe we can't do it. I don't know. They begin to get defeated in their spirit. All of a sudden, I love Joshua and Caleb because Joshua and Caleb were very, very positive. But the one thing I really love is Caleb, because Caleb was not just positive, he was vocal about it. So in Numbers chapter 13, we see this whole story play out. But I want you to turn and I want you to look at verse number 30. They're all giving their reports about how terrible it is. But Joshua and Caleb are just so positive, and Caleb just can't stand it anymore. And he jumps up and he says this in verse 30. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses. They were getting restless. Oh, they were getting nervous. They were getting anxious. I don't think we can do it. And Caleb says, everybody be still. Everybody be quiet. And he said this, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. He had a positive mental attitude. If you read the next chapter in Numbers chapter 14 and verse 24, when God got angry with the people because they didn't listen to him, the Lord singles out Joshua and Caleb because of their positive attitude. He said, just because everybody around you is negative and just because everybody around you has a defeatist attitude and doesn't think they can accomplish it, I know something different. I know that you can. And because you kept a positive attitude, I'm going to let you be victorious, even if everybody else is defeated. This is what he said. This is the Lord speaking in Numbers chapter 14 and verse 24. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him and hath followed me fully, him will I bring into the land where he went, and his seed shall possess it. Caleb won victory, not just for him, but for future generations of his life. How exciting. And it all came down to one thing. He had a positive attitude. You know what I love about Caleb? Because if you read about the life of Caleb, he had that positive attitude for the rest of his life. He never stopped having it. If you look in Joshua chapter 14, I want you to turn there. Joshua chapter 14, verses 10 through 12. If you read that setting, you'll see that Caleb is 80-something years old. And he is still having a positive attitude. This is what it said in Joshua chapter 14, verses 10 through 12. He's at this point of his life where they're giving out the property, they're giving out the land, and he has this mountain that he wants to take, and it hasn't been given to him yet. And so he goes to Joshua and he says, I'm ready to do it. I know I'm in my 80s, but guess what? I'm ready to receive my promise and possess what the Lord promised me in Numbers chapter 14. And this is what he said. And now behold, the Lord hath kept me alive, as he had said, these 45 years. Even since the Lord spake this word unto Moses, while the children of Israel wandered in the wilderness. And lo, I am this day 85 years old. I am 85 years old. But he goes on. And yet I am as strong this day as I was in the day that Moses sent me. As my strength was then, even so is my strength now, for war, both to go out and to come in. Now therefore give me this mountain whereof the Lord spake in that day. For thou heardest in that day how the Anakims were there, and that the cities were great and fenced. If so be the Lord will be with me, then I shall be able to drive them out, as the Lord had said. He never lost his positive attitude. From the time he was 40 till the time he was 85, he was of the same mind. He was still positive. I can do this. If you read that story on, you'll see that he did do something. He did. He took that mountain. He took that for his inhabitants. He took that for his children at 85. I want to challenge you this week. When you notice something negative, I want you to change it to a positive immediately. I want you to just think about where you're sitting right now. I want you to think about where you are in your life right now. It's easy automatically to go, oh, I'm overseas. I don't have any friends. I'm at school. My parents are overseas. Oh, I'm so lonely. I don't have a church. I don't have a youth group. Oh, this and that. You can always come up with negatives. But my challenge to you is, as soon as you think of that, I want you to turn it to a positive. I'll give you an example. I'm sitting in a very beautiful room right now. It's kind of warm in here. Even though it's November, it's kind of warm in this room. And I could say, oh, it's so hot in here. I can't believe it. Or I could say, this room is very beautiful. It's as simple as just changing the way you think about your situation. Don't let your mind get out of control. Don't let it take authority in your life. But immediately, I want you to look at it and I want you to say, I'm thinking negative. How can I turn this around to a positive? You can do that. You can say, instead of saying, I'm so lonely, you could say, you know what? I have an opportunity to get to know God and build a relationship with Him like no other friends in my life. I get a chance to spend time with my family and create such a tight and family environment. You can do this. So your challenge this week is, as you think and you realize you're thinking negatively, turn it around and see how you can change it to positive. And as you do it this week, I want you to send me a picture on Instagram and tag me in it. My Instagram is @CarlaBurton, all one word. I want you to Facebook me and tag me in it. I want you to let me know that you've done something great and how you were able to take that negative and make it a positive. And I'll see you back here next week for week 3 of our Thanksliving series.